episode 19 of the Retreadcast, the regular video podcast series for the tyre retreading industry. As usual, I'm joined by my father, David Wilson, who is the publisher of Retreading Business. Hello, David, and what have you got planned for today's episode?
Thank you, Richard. Well, it's now over a month since the nominations process opened for the 2022 Recircle Awards. And with less than a month to go until the deadline for nominations, we'll be going into some depth about how you can rate your nominations for next year's event and explaining the various categories that we'll be including this year. We'll also be explaining how next year's awards ceremony will be organised and how you can be present when the prizes are given out. For our regular feature in the middle of the podcast, this time we'll be going over to the US for a catch-up session with our regular contributor, David Stevens, the Managing Director of TRIB. When we return, we'll be providing some information on some of the partner and collaborator packages that suppliers can take advantage of in order to raise their profile in conjunction with the awards.
Fantastic. Well, let's not waste any time and let's start talking about the award categories for the second edition of the Recircle Awards. What can you tell us about those categories, David?
Well, like last year, there'll be a total of 20 awards, most of which will be open to the public vote. 16 of these categories have already been announced, whilst a further 4 will be announced at the start of January. Many of the categories we announced are the same as last year, but we've introduced several new categories in order to keep the event fresh and to drive increased engagement across the retreading and retiree cycling sectors. The 16 categories already announced as follows: Best Tread Rubber Supplier, Best Retreading Equipment Supplier, Best Retreading Accessory and Consumable Supplier, Best Tyre Recycling Industry Supplier, Best Tyre-Derived Recycled Product, Employee of the Year, Best Tyre Retreader, Best Tyre Recycler, Best Company Director, the Tyre Pyrolysis Award, the Circular Economy Award, the Best Tyre Recycling Research Project, Best EPR Scheme, and the Spirit of Retreading Award. The winners of all these awards will be decided by a combination of public vote and judging by the nominations committee. We've also got 2 additional Lifetime Achievement Awards, which will be decided by the respective editors of Retreading Business and Tyre Rubber Recycling, namely Ewan Scott and myself. These are Lifetime Achievement Award in the tyre retreading sector and the Lifetime Achievement Award in the tyre recycling sector.
Fantastic. Well, congratulations on reeling off all those awards. There was a lot of them. I look forward to doing that in the award ceremonies myself. So yeah, there's a few tongue twisters in there. But thinking about how people can make their nominations for our viewers and our listeners, how can they do this and how long have they got?
Well, all nominations must be made via the nominations function on the Recircle Awards website. You can do this at www.recircleawards.com/categories-2022. And there you'll find a full list of all the categories as well as the nominations form. The nominations themselves close at 23:59 GMT on Friday, the 5th of November. Anyone can make a nomination, and you can nominate in as many categories as you like, but you're restricted to 1 nomination per person per email address in each category.
So where will the winners of each category receive their awards?
Well, we're currently planning to present some of the awards after the Global Retread Conference at the Tyre Cologne next May, and some more will be distributed after the Future of Retreading Conference 2 days later at Auto Promotech in Bologna. We're also looking at the possibility of giving some of the awards out at other tyre industry events around the world during the ensuing months, and we'll be releasing some information on this once we know a bit more.
Brilliant. Thanks for that, David. I'm really looking forward to having the opportunity for us to present some of these awards at these events. This will be much more in line with what we envisioned for the Recircle Awards when we first started putting the proposals and the plans together for the awards a few years ago. So it'd be fantastic to celebrate the excellence of these winners and our nominees. So I'm really looking forward to that. So for our viewers and listeners, that's your cue to get online and start submitting your nominations. Remember that unless you're in it, you can't win it. So putting Recircle Awards to the side, we will be returning to that in due course. But first, let's go over to the United States and see our latest discussion with David Stevens.
We're now going over to the United States to talk to our regular contributor, David Stevens, the Managing Director of TRIB. Hi, David. Welcome back to the Retreadcast. How are things for you?
Hey, David. It's great to see you. Yeah, everything's going well here in the US.
Perfect. Well, perhaps I could begin by asking you for an update on the market in the US. What are the latest trends and developments, and how is the country getting through the pandemic at the moment?
Yeah, I think it's, we're slowly and in some parts really rapidly getting back to normal in some ways. There's obviously still challenges that face the industry, namely on the supply chain side of things, which I know is a global problem and extends across all of the industries that operate. But fortunately for the retread industry here in the US, early on in the pandemic, we were deemed essential businesses. So, a lot of the retreaders have seen increasing demand for their product as more people are shopping from home and having stuff delivered to their houses. So it just depends on the industry that they're in terms of the impact it's had on their businesses. But the retreaders that I speak to here in the US, they're busy at full capacity, like trying to fulfill customers' orders. The struggle, and I think also this is a global one as well, is finding talent to work in the plants, keeping that talent, and whether it's just keeping them healthy in the middle of COVID, or having those people, which can be a challenging, physically demanding, somewhat dirty job in times, to keep them engaged when you're competing with, for instance, an Amazon warehouse somewhere close by that might be offering employment as well. So it's the number one challenge that I hear from retreaders here is a human resource challenge, and then just managing those supply issues that they're facing, and that's obviously also impacting the new tire side of the business, and which then ultimately has in some ways a benefit for retreading, because people are looking to retreading to fill the gap for some of those new tires. But then, it also can be a little bit concerning, because obviously in the retread industry, we need new tires as casings so that we can retread them. So, we're keeping an eye on all of those supply issues to make sure that retreaders can meet the demands of their customers.
Well, it's certainly good to know that the demand is there. Now, in terms of the work you're carrying out, I know you've been busy in California, so could you give us an update on your activities in this regard?
Yeah, so we've, for those that don't know, we have a contract with the state of California, and the goal of that contract is really to help promote the increased adoption of retreading in the state of California, not only for their government municipal fleets, but also for those private fleets in California that are may not be utilizing retreaded tires as much as they can do. And we've been extremely busy trying to deliver on many parts of that contract. We've put out a new brochure about the benefits of retreading. We've wrapped up a video called Retread's Work, which basically talks about the benefits of retreading from an economic standpoint, an environmental standpoint, and deals with some of those ongoing myths and misconceptions that exist about retreading. And we should be launching that hopefully next week officially. We're just working on some of the final details with the state of California to get that out there. But I think it's a pretty good video that talks about all of those benefits. It'll be good for retreaders to share with customers and potential customers who want to learn more about retreading, and the benefits that it can bring. And then the last thing that we've been working on is a series of workshops with the state of California. And originally those were supposed to be in person. And what we were trying to do is bring fleets into various retread plants around California so they could see the operation themselves, go on a tour with the plant managers and the manufacturing representatives, ask questions about the retreading process, and then just do a little bit of training and education about retreading and how it can be beneficial for them. As with so many organizations and individuals in the past year, we've had to shift. And so we're doing those virtually now. And we held our first one with Parkhouse Tire, which is based in the Los Angeles area of California, and Bandag. And so we take people through a virtual tour of a plant, do that presentation and have them interact and ask some questions. And then we have 5 more of those planned between now and the end of the year. And that will go through many different retreaders around California and different retread manufacturers, from Michelin to Continental, Goodyear, Oliver, and Bandag as well. So we've got a busy end of the year with California, and we have a bunch of stuff coming out with them as well. And hopefully, and we can use those resources in other places. We'll have those up on TRIB's website for people to see, and hopefully other states can take advantage of that information as well.
Excellent. Now, I know one of the things journalists and association directors often talk about is the trade show scene around the world, and the last 2 years have been pretty traumatic in that regard. But trade exhibitions are now slowly starting to open up again. How have you found things in the US, and what do you think the prospects are for the international events in the tire sector moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, I went to my first trade show, in-person trade show, a couple of weeks ago in Cleveland, and it was the American Trucking Association's technology exhibition and annual meeting. It would be difficult for me to guess. I mean, obviously the number of exhibitors were down and the number of attendees were down. I don't know the exact figures, but it was also sort of out of sequence because they normally do this trade show in March, and they are going to have the trade show in March of 2022 again. So it's a little bit of, was it COVID keeping people back? And I know that there are still companies that are managing their employees' travel, but it was also a fact of, well, there's going to be another one of these in March, like maybe I wait till that one comes around. But I have to say, it was great to be there and see people in person, see familiar faces that I haven't seen in a year and a half. And have discussions about what's going on, see some of the new technology that's happening in the industry. So it's encouraging. And I think there's a few things that are happening between now and the end of the year. There's another American Trucking Association event we're participating in, and then of course you have the big SEMA and Global Tire Expo coming up in November, and TRIB will be there within the TIA booth at our normal spot. And we'll also have our TRIB membership meeting, which is normally an annual event, and we've had to do virtually for the last year. And then there's an event in California that will also be, it's a Green Schools Summit that TRIB will be attending and speaking at, talking about the benefits of retreading for the school bus industry and the specific cost savings and obviously the reliability that retreading still provides for the school bus segment. So I'm looking forward to those future events, especially in 2022. Hopefully we'll be, back in Tire Cologne, and you got Auto Promotech and, the shows in Asia and India. And hopefully we'll be back to normal operations and seeing those familiar faces in all of those places, and the Latin American show as well. So I look forward to that. Hopefully that's something that we can plan on for next year.
Absolutely. Okay, so finally, a piece of shameless self-promotion. As you know, the Recircle Awards is now entering its 2nd year, and we're grateful that you once again agreed to be a member of our nominations committee. So what I wanted to ask was, how was the inaugural Recircle Awards received in the US, and what can we do as an organizer to do what can we do to encourage additional engagement from North American retreaders and the tyre recycling sector?
Yeah, I think, we've already seen people reach out to us to ask more questions about, how do they get involved in the nominations process? What do they need for their company? Asking some questions about the specific categories. So I think there was, with the first round of this awards program, it's, you're dealing with some of that education and getting people aware and having them participate. And I think we've seen, or I've seen, from the US, more people asking those questions about, they saw the promotion for it, they saw the people that were winners, and, it's sort of that, like, well, how do I get involved in that as well? And so I think we're doing our part to educate people about the awards themselves, the process that they need to go through, and hopefully have a continued well-rounded group of nominees and ultimately winners from all over the world. And so we'll do our part to make sure that the U.S. organizations are represented as best they can be.
Fantastic. Okay, well, many thanks as always for your input, David. Hopefully it won't be much longer before we'll be able to see each other at a show somewhere around the world. In the meantime, we hope to see you again on the Retreadcast very soon.
Well, it's always good to talk to David and get his perspective on the global retreading market, and I'm sure we'll be talking to him again very soon.
Absolutely. Well, now let's return to the subject of the Recircle Awards. We'd now like to talk about some of the partner collaborator packages that are available to help companies increase their profile in the market. This is something you've been closely involved with, Richard, so perhaps you can begin by explaining why we have collaborator packages at all.
Absolutely. Well, as you're aware, organising the Recircle Awards is not a cost-free event for us, and the collaborator packages are designed to help us cover the costs of the awards themselves, distributing them to the winners, the publication of various supplements, which we publish in association with the awards, the production of videos and graphics, and promotions on social media, etc. In return for this, we provide various promotional packages and the opportunity for companies to associate themselves with a globally facing awards event which rewards excellence in terms of the companies in the retreading and tyre recycling sectors are playing in the circular economy. To give you an idea of what we're doing, here's a short video that we've put together. Celebrate the circular economy with the second edition of the Recircle Awards, the state-of-the-art event designed to recognise the very best in the tyre manufacturing, retreading and recycling sectors. The debut Recircle Awards saw an international viewership and participation across all continents. With over 500,000 Facebook impressions and a reach of nearly 30,000 on YouTube, we're excited to make the 2022 Recircle Awards even bigger and better. The Recircle Awards packages offer an array of benefits. These include logo benefits across multiple channels, company profiles on our website, and adverts in our print and digital supplements. On top of that, we also offer social media coverage, podcast interviews, and other video benefits, as well as promotion during the ceremony and much, much more. Join our exceptional collaborators in supporting thousands of professionals dedicated to promoting tyres and sustainability as we look towards a brighter future. Our packages range from bronze to gold, as well as 2 other unique opportunities to take part. Stay tuned for those. We're offering 2 more collaborator packages where your business can enjoy ample exposure and benefits. The Trophy and Ceremony Collaborator packages get all of the Gold Collaborator benefits, plus many more advantages for greater visibility, including podcast interviews and dedicated ceremony appearances.
Visit us at recircleawards.com to discover all of the collaboration options your company can enjoy. Take part in this groundbreaking event, not only for the tyre and automotive sector, but for a greener tomorrow. We'll see you at the 2022 Recircle Awards.
At this point, it's essential to point out that taking a partnership package does not guarantee an award or nomination. That is decided by the quality of the nomination and the opinions of the public. However, they will provide a lot of exposure within the tyre retreading and tyre recycling markets.
That's right. And at this point, we'd like to thank our partners, main sponsor Autopromotech, Gold Collaborators Noises Upcycling, who are designing the 2022 awards out of recycled tyres, Marangoni, Scandinavian Enviro Systems and Vipal Rubber, Silver Collaborators, Forec, MAE and VM Rubber, and Bronze Collaborators, Presti Rubber, Tinner Rubber and Tech.
Yes, indeed. But that's all for this edition of the Retreadcast. Many thanks to David Stevens for taking the time to talk to us today. Until next time, from David and myself, thanks for joining us, and please stay safe.